Evil Mamabear is gonna sell her house and move away. Well, it finally happened. Eventually she'll be leaving for good. Evil Mamabear recently made another post on FB telling everybody that she hates us all for ruining her life. And that she wishes we'd all go to hell for it. But no longer cares because hell is too good for the likes of us. She's apparently gonna sell her house so she can move back to her parents' old family property in Texas that they left her when they passed 20 years ago. She can't leave just yet though because things aren't settled with the courts over her attempt to attack FBIL. And their impending restraining order against Evil Mamabear. She's still having an enormous pity party online about how the family is supposed to have her back because blood is thicker than water. But they all just savaged her. Especially when she tried to blame this all on me again. It's basically come down to her saying that she wished I'd never been born. Because I'm a devil incarnate and the source of all her problems. Apparently I ruined her marriage. Her job. Her relationships with family. Etc. And am the Judas that took her little princess away. That just got her laughed at. And I mean really laughed at. Even my sister thought it was funny. That made Evil Mamabear throw an online tantrum and said she hates us all and will be shutting her FB down soon because she can't take being abused any longer. That caused a huge backlash as they all called her out as the abuser and started quoting things they remembered. So many relatives did this that Evil Mamabear just didn't respond to them. My sister even joined in and told Evil Mamabear on FB that all she is doing is projecting her own faults onto me because she doesn't want to deal with the consequences of her own actions. Apparently Sis's therapist told her that. Then my sister went on to list numerous things that definitely were Evil Mamabear's fault. And that of course made my mother go into more denial. But she had no real answers on how said things were my fault. Then my sister asked her how it was that I'd go to hell and not her with all of the particular things she's done. Evil Mamabear didn't respond for a few minutes. Then just said we were all backing her into a corner to pick on her and she was gonna go cry. Then logged off. Her FB has been seemingly dead since then. Either way there's pretty much nothing my mother can do to regain any semblance of her old reputation. Or what little of it there was to begin with since most people who knew her didn't like her at all. She was outed as a racist. Made a social pariah. Arrested twice. And fired from her job. On top of that all her neighbors hate her. And have for decades. All because she's a narcissistic bitch. She has no friends and no family left to fall back on. So there isn't much left keeping her here anymore. The house my mother owns and currently lives in is a nice vintage one that's in great condition thanks to remodeling by my father when I was a little kid. So I doubt it will take very long for it to sell once it's listed. Meanwhile my GF. Sister. Full and myself all went out to the same diner we unveiled the pregnancy DNA test results in and had a good dinner and some laughs. Got me a chicken fried steak. Since I've still got the restraining order up and cameras at my house. Business. Cars and my sister's apartment. I doubt my mother will bother trying to pay either of us a visit again. At this point she's already in enough trouble with the law. And I doubt she wants to do anything that'll risk her getting arrested again because I know that's one of the things she's really afraid of. But I'm gonna keep my guard up. We are all well prepared with cameras. We go places in pairs. We have tasers, pocket knives, pepper spray, and phone tracer apps. And we've gotten the word out on Evil Mamabear anywhere we could. A commenter suggested a while back that I should send my mother an anonymous package full of Limburger cheese. And I'm actually really tempted to do that once Evil Mamabear has moved back to Texas since I still have the address of her parents' old property from my dad's list of contacts from back in the day. It would be one last nice bit of petty payback for all the misery she put us through. I hope someone posted on Facebook I hope door hits you on way out. May I never see nor hear from you again. Your deathbed would be too soon and or nah 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 nah. Hey hey hey. Goodbye at your mother. Or play the YouTube video of Steam singing nah 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 nah. Hey hey hey. Goodbye. On Facebook. Nah mate. Send her gnomes. Finish her. Don't send her the gnomes. Go place a bunch on the property before she moves in. Spoken like a true narcissist, never admitting she was wrong and conveniently forgetting she caused her own mess. Luckily you are indeed a kind-hearted person and will certainly not send her strange things. Cough, good luck on your future endeavors. Send her Texas address to the Mormons, Scientologists and JWs and emphasize she would love multiple visits and is eager. Entitled Mum at a Chip Shop. This story is from when I 22F was around 15. It was a Friday after school and I decided to go to the local chicken and chips shop before I started work. It was fairly quiet, so when I went in I just stood in the line and waited probably 30 seconds before one of the staff members called next. At this point, being next in the line, I walked up to the counter only to be grabbed from behind by the collar of my school blazer. I live in Australia, so blazers are pretty much compulsory everywhere. It turns out that shortly after I had walked into the store, a mother and her 2 sons around my age had also entered. They saw the ticket machine and decided to grab a number whilst waiting in turn. Seeing that I didn't have a number, no one else did either, as it was very quiet. She let out an ungodly screech and a few choice words. I offered for her to go in front of me as I really didn't want a headache at that point in time. But she declined, stating it doesn't matter now, as I had already shown how I feel by not letting her, a busy mother, go first. To note, I didn't even realize they were in the shop to begin with. She then proceeded to get out her phone to photograph the school emblem on my chest so she could report me to the school. It was at this point the few other patrons in the shop pipped up and called her out for her ridiculous behavior. With one final screech, she accused them of taking the side of an ungrateful child over a working mother and her poor hungry boys, before grabbing the hands of her sons, who were almost red with embarrassment, and flouncing away. To wrap up the story, 2 other patrons gave me their phone numbers. Should she report me to my school, to act as witnesses on my behalf. And I was given free chips by the owner, who also happened to know my dad at the time. TLDR. Angry mom tries to threaten me over hot chips and embarrasses her 2 teenage sons. Bro, I feel so bad. I've had a slightly same encounter like this. Photographing underage schoolgirls. What could go wrong? She definitely had a few screws loose. I feel sorry for her sons. They looked mortified. Back in the day, when I was in school, grabbing me from behind would have gotten her decked, before I even noticed she was female. I would love to have heard the conversation if your school principal, or is it headmaster, called one of those 2 people about this. Chips are potatoes or potato chips? In Australia and UK, chips are what Americans call French fries. Maybe she better peeping stop eating her son's food. If someone did that to my kid and my friends saw it, all hell would have broke loose in that shop. If they didn't stand up for my kid, then we would have some issues. She did her job and wanted me to compensate her for it, even knowing how broke I was. Edited cause some bad spelling bothered me. I work at a debt collection agency and our whole spiel is, as you can probably guess, make calls, take payments, rinse and repeat, and if anyone wants to complain about my job, then you can stop right there. I hear it every day. Nothing you say can possibly be new. Anywho, at my company we make commission once we reach a certain balance earned, and this is a story not about a debtor, but about a fellow collector. In fact, she sat right next to me. And she believed that every time she took a payment for one of her coworkers, we owed compensation to her in some way or form, whether it be food, coffee, or actual money. Now I used to think she was just messing with us and went along with it, cause, hey, sure, whatever, I owe you and I like coffee, so yeah, I'll pick you up some to be nice. And today I learned one day. You see, my roommate had lost her job and all the money I had was going to bills. It was at the point where I was bringing in cheap chicken flavored ramen into work every day for lunch. The entire office was aware of my financial situation, cause I'm not the kind of person to keep things quiet. This was also the first time I'd blown up in a while, cause at the time I wasn't aware that I had developed a sinus infection and just thought I had a bad cold. Me. EC. Entitled coworker. Phone rings and EC picks it up first. EC. Hey, McNugget here. I just wanted to let you know I took a $1,000 payment for you. Can't remember the actual balance, but those were the most exciting ones to get, so they were the only ones worth mentioning to each other. Me. Thanks, EC. Pulls up the account. EC. Yeah. Guess you owe me again. Me. Looks at the account and sees it's from people I've been working with since 2019. Ha, thanks. Yeah. But I mean, not really. EC. Yeah. You do. Me. What? EC. I took the payment for you. It's only fair. Me. No. You did your job. I'm the one who's been working with these people. EC. But I'm the one who took the payment. Me. Yeah. Because you picked up the phone first. You should have transferred it over to me. But you didn't. EC. Doesn't matter. Me. Yeah. It does. EC. No. IT doesn't. Me. Why should I actually owe you for doing your job? EC. Because I did yours for you. Me. And what if I don't? EC. Then I'll never take a payment for you again. Now this doesn't seem like much. But imagine calling into a debt collection agency to pay a bill only to be denied the ability to pay because the rep you were working with had a grudge. You wouldn't be happy. This would go against company policy. And I took payments from her all the time without wanting any compensation because once again it was a part of the job. It was at this point, everyone, that the mix of the stress of life and the absolute audacity that something in me snapped. Me. Knock it off, EC. You did your job and it took less than 3 minutes. I have been working on this for 2 years now. EC. FB. Me. That's it. And I got up to talk to my manager. It was on that day I learned that she had already turned in her 2-week notice, and rather than waste time moving her stuff over, we decided it would be easier to ride out the next 2 weeks next to her in silence. I never said a word to her again. She didn't to me. And the day before her last day she silently packed up her stuff and left without saying goodbye to anyone. A multitude of other things had happened with this coworker, including much cussing and her threatening to punch me in front of 2 other coworkers, which I also reported, although all that happened was she was given a talking to and eventually I got her version of an apology. But this is what stuck to me the most, cause like, for real, if you expect your coworkers to compensate you for doing your dang job, you can shove right off. Yeah. Maybe this story isn't as exciting as others. But this chick made me so mad, and I am glad she's gone. I worked in debt collection. We didn't do stuff like that or had any type of compensation. Just collect it. There was and still is no compensation rule. I just went along with it cause I thought we were friends, and if I remember a friend wanted something like a taco or a cup of coffee, I'd pick some up for them next time I got one cause it'd make them happy. Apparently she didn't see it that way and at some point saw my being friendly as a way to take advantage. I am in debt. January 2020 I was in the ER. Which led to a surgery. Which led to my lifelong disability getting worse. So I could not longer power through the pain and it just broke physically. I lost my job. Every account I had went red and was sent to collections. Including my own bank account. I had a collections person call me. First, I told her that due to medical issues I had not even looked at my finances in over a year. The balance, she told me, seemed high. But I could not be sure. I said, since this is a recorded line, I'm making it clear that I do not acknowledge this debt or this balance at this time. She got so mad at me for that. I then told her what I said above. And that I would not be wasting my time discussing a debt or payment methods, when it was literally impossible for me to pay a red cent to anyone at this time. She actually had the nerve to keep pushing. With a, can you just give me a card number? We can just do a 5 payment today. She's the type of idiot that give debt collectors a bad name. I feel bad for the rest of you. Entitled lady tries to skip the line. As we all know, takeout restaurants can typically have long lines during standard meal times. About an hour ago I ordered from one such takeout place using their online order system. I get there and there's only a couple people in front of me, so no biggie, I'm not in a hurry and I don't mind waiting. It's a small restaurant, so they only let people in one at a time to pick up their orders. Now I get to the counter and am told my order is still a couple minutes from being ready. No big deal, I step aside and let the next person pay and collect their order. By now the line outside is about 8 people long and nobody's complaining. Until Karen shows up. She stands close to the front of the line and asks one of the delivery drivers just entering the store if she has to wait in line. Delivery driver comes in and asks her supervisor if the lady has to wait, and obviously the supervisor says yes. Of course she has to wait like everyone else. Now I have my food, so I go to leave, and as I walk out Karen is still arguing with the poor girl about having to wait in line. Even as I was leaving the parking lot she was still standing near the front of the line as if expecting someone to let her go before them instead of walking 6 feet to the end of the line like a normal person. If I was the supervisor, I'd charge that lady 15% asshole tax. Like a normal person. Herein lies the issue. Karens don't believe normal people should be tolerated, but people should tolerate them. Entitled people don't know how to be normal.